Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Globe Theater. My name is Sophia, and I'll be your tour guide for the day, along with my fellow guides, Joseph, Wajid, and Katie. On this tour, we are going to tell you everything there is to know about our wonderful Globe Theater. So come on inside. I'm going to start off by telling you all about our amazing history. Located in Southwark on the south bank of the River Thames, the first and original Globe Theatre opened in 1599. It was built by William Shakespeare's acting company, the Lord Chamberlain's Men, but Shakespeare himself only owned about 12.5% of the theatre as a shareholder. So, who owned the Globe? Alongside Shakespeare, the Globe was co owned by 5 other men, many of whom were actors. Richard Burbage and his brother Cuthbert Burbage owned double shares, or 25% each, and the 3 other men, John Hemmings, Augustine Phillips, and Thomas Pope, owned a single share, or 12.5% like Shakespeare. Now, the original Globe Theatre has a really cool history, but it has some even cooler fun facts. The Globe was named by Richard Burbage, who came up with the idea of the globe based on the image of Hercules carrying the globe on his back. It was symbolic to the idea of actors carrying the theater on their back. The original theater was 30 meters wide and had 20 sides, giving it its unique circular shape, and it held 3,000 people. The opening in May of 1599 was a huge success, and even eventually gained the patronage of King James VI. Now, the original Globe had a cool technique. It used colored flags outside the theater to tell people the type of play that was going to be performed. A red flag meant a history play, a white flag for a comedy, and a black flag for a tragedy play. Now, the original building did not last long, and tragedy struck in June of 1613 during a performance of Henry VIII, when a prop cannon blast at the end of Act One set fire to the stage, and while everyone got out safely, the theater was ruined and completely burned down, bringing an end to the original Globe Theater. The second Globe Theater was then rebuilt in February of 1614, and based on its previous success, it was built even more extravagantly. Unfortunately, the time of the Second Globe was also very short-lived, as in 1642, Parliament ordered the closure of all London theatres, resulting in the Globe being shut down and destroyed, and the land it previously stood on being sold off in 1644.
Hi everyone, my name is Joseph, and today I'll be telling you about how the Globe functioned and about the different parts of the theatre. In its time, the Globe was known as the Wooden O. Shakespeare's play Henry V makes mention of this name in his prologue. Quote, "Or may we cram within this wooden O the very cast that did affright the air at Agincourt." It was once thought that Henry V was the first play performed at the Globe, though there is less certainty around that theory these days. However, the nickname still fits very well. The Globe was a circular, wooden building with no roof over its center, meaning the stage and the ground level were completely open to the weather. As Sophia mentioned, the Globe was fond of using flags. In the morning, one would fly from the top of the theater to let people know if there was a play that afternoon, and this flag could be seen even from across the River Thames. On the days when the flags flew, Londoners would usually find out what was playing from a playbill, a small poster, at some spot or other in the city, and then they would arrive at the Globe and pay a single penny for access to the ground level, just in front of the stage. The people who stayed on the ground were commonly called groundlings, but if they wanted to get rid of that unflattering nickname, they could move up into one of the 3 galleries by paying extra, and some people spent even more than that just to sit on the edge of the stage for a real close-up. Despite its simple appearance, the Globe's design was sneakily complex. As you can see from this picture by illustrator C. Walter Hodges, there are many different areas of the building hidden away behind walls and doors. The open part of the Globe consisted of the ground, or the pit, the stage, and the 3 galleries, which were lined with wooden benches. At the back of the stage was a huge wooden wall with 2 large doors and a curtained area in the middle, where large props were assembled. This wall also had a second and a third level to it. The second was seen by the audience, and Shakespeare used it quite effectively in his plays, most notably during the famous balcony scenes from Romeo and Juliet. The third, on the other hand, was hidden and consisted of an area for musicians to play, and also a storage space to hold costumes and other props. Behind this large wall was the inner stage, which actors hung around in when they were performing, and part of this area was called the tiring house, where they changed clothes between scenes. One of the most elaborate parts of the theater was the stage cover, the large roof supported by two, quote, Herculean columns. The space was known as the heavens, and there was a good reason for that. Whenever a heavenly or mystical being, a god, an angel, a fairy, or anything else had to arrive into the scene, A trap door would open from this roof, and the actor would be lowered by a pulley system onto the stage below. This area also housed the trumpeter, who signaled the start of the play, as well as a cannon that would sometimes be fired as a special effect. The floor of the stage had a trapdoor as well, this one representing a gateway to hell, where devils or ghosts would rise from. However, despite all the intricacies of the Globe, it's important to remember that it was a 17th century building. There was no heating or lighting in the theater, so plays were performed in the afternoon, whenever the weather cooperated.
Hi everybody, my name is Wajid Mahmood. I'm going to be talking about the theater industry around the time the Globe Theater was built and some plays that were played there. So, when the Globe Theater was originally built in 1576, they didn't have a catalog of plays to show every night to fill seats and sell tickets. So, which means there was a demand for new plays because of how successful the theater industry had been during the time before the opening of the Globe Theater around the early 1590s. Because of the success of the theater industry, literary scholar G.E. Bentley estimates that about 2,000 plays were written in England between 1590 and 1642. The theater industry was prospering, and many writers realized this and wanted to cash in while they could. Because of this influx of new plays being written as fast as the writers could get them to theaters, the theaters would not rerun plays unless they could consistently fill seats. The image on the right is a schedule for the Rose Theater for an unknown week in September. September 1st had Hercules Part 1, the second day Part 2, and so on. There are no repeat plays because the theater company would only risk reruns if they could bring in different audiences each day. Patrons would get bored watching the same play multiple days in a row, which is why the demand for plays was so high. At this point in time, before the Globe Theater's grand opening, Shakespeare already had huge hits with Romeo and Juliet in 1597, so which means his name was bound to be a huge draw. So when Burbage finally opens the theater in 1599, Shakespeare's plays would generally open there first for the next 9 or so years. These plays include As You Like It and Julius Caesar in 1599, The Merry Wives of Windsor and Twelfth Night in 1600, Hamlet in 1601, Troilus and Cressida in 1602, All's Well That Ends Well in 1603, Macbeth in 1606, Antony and Cleopatra in 1607, among others. If there was ever a gap in plays to run at the theater, the showrunners would do reruns of old Shakespeare plays such as Romeo and Juliet, A Midsummer's Night Dream, or The Merchant of Venice, just to name a few. And here's a couple of fun facts. Only men were allowed to perform at these theaters at the time. So men would play both the male roles and the female roles. And each theater also had like a stock of actors they would use. So if you were an actor at the theater, you would have to memorize maybe like 10, 15 different plays if you're going to perform for a week. It's kind of crazy. But they were paid well, so I guess that's what really matters. Thank you.
My name is Katie, and that brings us to the part of our tour where we talk about the Globe Theater today. An important distinction that we want to make is when we talk about the Globe, we are talking about the original Globe, and when we say the Globe Theater, we are talking about the building that we're in right now. This building would not exist without Sam Wanamaker. He visited the site of the original Globe in 1949, but only found a plaque in its place, and the plaque actually contained incorrect information about what the Globe was like. So he made it his mission to reconstruct the Globe, and he began this project in 1970. He unfortunately died in 1993 and never saw the theater open. This is the third Globe and has been open since 1997 when the Queen herself opened it. This is not our only playing space. We do also have the Sam Wanamaker Playhouse. We also tour all around the world. The building that we're in right now is located about 750 feet away from the original Globe. We have the only thatched roof building in all of London, and it was quite a hassle to get the permits for the roof. Because Sam Wanamaker wanted to replicate the original Globe as closely as possible, the building is an icosagon, a 20-sided polygon. The amphitheater holds about 1,570 people, and 700 of them do have to stand. Performances will go on rain, shine, or snow, so we tell everybody to dress for the weather. Some initiatives that we have here at the Globe are our Anti-Racist Shakespeare Seminar, in which we educate on how to teach Shakespeare in an anti-racist way, our Shakespeare and Women's Seminar. We have our summer school programs where we teach acting for all ages. We have our Globe Music record label. We have a higher education program at the Globe Theater in which university students get to come here and learn about the Globe. And we have guided tours. So what's on right now? This is our 2022 season. We don't just do Shakespeare. Playing this season are Julius Caesar, Midsummer Mechanicals, As You Like It, Joan, The Tempest, King Lear, Henry VIII, Much Ado About Nothing, The Merchant of Venice, and Hamlet. If you were hoping to catch a performance, The Merchant of Venice and Hamlet are playing right now. So that concludes our tour. We want to thank you so much for coming, and we really hope to see you again soon. We hope you've enjoyed your visit to the Globe.